I'm going to object to that, Your Honor. I don't think that's factually correct. I don't think that's a relevant question, and I don't think it's appropriate to question this witness about the scope of his attorney record. With his attorney is privileged. That I think is clear. What's not clear to me from that question is that is Ms. Merchant asking in the context of your communication with your attorneys? Is that or outside that context? Is it
right? And Ms. Merchant, I think we need to figure out what are we getting at with this.
I'm just trying to figure out if he thought that their relationship is such.
The actions themselves wouldn't be an issue. It's more communications.
Someone saw them, someone had knowledge of it. Is that attorney-client privilege? I want to know.
All right. Well, I guess I would find his legal opinion on this isn't relevant. We can deal with that as it comes up. So sustained.
In 2022, in this affidavit, you swore that you and Willis developed a personal relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that didn't develop until 2022, correct?
Yes.
In the divorce case, correct?
No, ma'am.
In May 2023, when you were asked if you had any affairs, essentially, and you said none.
That's correct.
Mr. Mayor.
So in 2015, my marriage was irretrievably broken. So I did not have a relationship with anyone during the course of my marriage.
And in that interrogatory, they asked you if you had any receipts for travel with someone of sex up until the time you were answering it. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that you didn't. You've already testified to that earlier. But in this affidavit, you said shared expenses. Travel with Ms. Willis.
Again, during the course of my marriage, I had no relationship or receipts.
I'm not asking about during the course of your marriage.
Your Honor, the witness.
Let's see, no past.
You don't have any travel receipts available to you for travel that you did with Ms. Willis.
Receipts, no.
So you used your business credit card for these trips.
Yes, ma'am.
Used it for personal travel with Ms. Willis.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have receipts from those business credit cards that you have to file with your taxes, correct?
No, ma'am.
No.
I filed a statement. I turn over the statement, and whatever's there on the statement, the accountant looks at it, and the accountant says, okay, this is personal, goes over here, this is business, goes over here, here are your taxes.
So you have those statements. We'll call them statements instead of receipts. You have those statements, correct?
I have the statements, yes, ma'am.
But when you answered the interrogatory under oath, you said you did not have anything to show the records of travel with Ms. Willis.
I answered the question. I had no receipts, ma'am.
You had no receipts, but you had statements.
I ordered the statement, yes, ma'am.
You did order the statement.
I did.
Okay. And so we're just talking the semantics between invoice and statements or receipt. I'm sorry.
Your Honor, to the argumentative tone of the question, I believe it's been asked and answered.
All right, so
Let's see. You also this affidavit said that no funds paid to you for compensation as role as special counsel was shared with Willis, correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Durham on Zoom.
No. No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. McDougald.
I will defer to Mr. Gill.
All right, Mr. Rice. All right, thank you, Mr. Gillen.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Wade.
Good afternoon, sir.
A few follow-up questions. I'd like to start off with the exhibit number 4 that you should have up there. Those are the interrogatories.
No, sir.
They're not up there?
Remember, I asked her to compile them all, so
I'm
now you can
sorry.
grab
Right
them.
here, I'm gonna give it to you if you wanted me to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, these are the interrogatories that you had filed on May the 30th, 2023 in your divorce case, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you went over in part some of those interrogatories, but what I want you to do, because I want to get down to the specific language to clear up exactly what the interrogatories asked for and exactly what you answered, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, if we look on the interrogatory that I believe, as we indicated, there's really, I think, on page 2, the one that starts off, describe each instance in which you've had sexual relations. You see that one?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, that interrogatory begins, describe each instance in which you have had sexual relations with a person other than your spouse during the course of the marriage, including the period of separation. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Now, these were filed on May the 30th, 2023, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, at that time, you had had sexual relations with Miss Willis, correct?
Well,
Your Honor, I'm gonna object to the question as phrased. I think the question is properly at that time, certainly asked about his answer, but I object to.
All right, Mr. Gillen, I just asked you to rephrase, but I think you can make the same point.
Well, Your Honor, it's a specific interrogatory, and I would, so the words do matter, and I would like him to answer whether or not he'd had sexual relations with Miss Willis, because if he answered yes, then this interrogatory is a false interrogatory. So I would ask the court's indulgence. I'm not here to jump into some salacious bedroom situation, but this is an interrogatory that matters. So I would ask the court's indulgence.
Ms. Cross?
These questions have been asked and answered several times. I understand Mr. Gillen is coming at it from a different way, but this question is not substantively different than those that have already been asked and answered in the information that he's seeking.
All right, Mr. Gillen, I'll allow maybe this question and one more, but I think you are asking it in a different way, and I'll ask you to stick to the point.
Right. Now, as of May the 30th, and may I answer the question that okay, thank you, Your Honor. As of May the 30th, 2023, you had had sexual relations with Miss Willis, isn't that correct?
the interrogatory, sir, asks during the course of the marriage and the period of separation.
Excuse me.
My
Your
response,
Honor, I would ask that the court direct the witness to answer my question, yes or no. As of May the 30th, 2023, had you had sexual relations with Miss Willis? Yes or no?
Mr. Gillen, let's start with at the higher level whether he believes he answered it truthfully, and then we can drill down into why or why not he doesn't, and maybe we'll end up exactly where you left us.
Well, but again, Your Honor, the point of it is that the words matter, and that we have to establish what did and did not happen, and then he can give whatever explanation he chooses to what apparently is a false answer. But I would like an answer to my question.
And you may get one. I would like us to start at the high level before we drill down in specifics to see whether he actually contradicted that interrogatory, if I'm making sense.
Well, the interrogatory is relatively direct and explicit. Sexual relationships with a person other than your spouse during the course of the marriage, including the period of separation. That's pretty simple.
Sure. Let's see if that's something you can get him to admit.
You did have sexual relationships with someone other than your spouse during the course of the marriage and during the period of separation, which included up to May the 30th of 2023. Isn't that correct, sir?
my answer to this interrogatory is none, is no.
So you're saying that you did not have sexual relationships with anyone outside of your marriage, and the period of separation is during the period. Then you're answering the question to this interrogatory, correct, sir?
I'm saying during the course of my marriage, I did not have sexual relations to anyone, and this answer's no.
Well, again, Your Honor,
I understand. You can proceed, Mr. Gill.
we need a yes or no. Let's just get down to it. did you or did you not, by May the 30th, 2023, have had sexual relations with Miss Willis, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes,
Okay. Now, what you did is you answered no to that question, didn't you, or none, correct?
I didn't answer no to the question you just asked. I answered no to the interrogatory question.
And the interrogatory stands that you answered as a pleading in a civil proceeding, your divorce case, right?
Yes,
Now, excuse me. The next interrogatory, let's move there. That interrogatory states as follows: identify any and all occasions in which you entertain a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse who is not related to you by blood or marriage. You see that?
I do.
Now, there are two parts to this. The second part is, I read on, or in which a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse, not related to you by blood or marriage, entertained you. And then it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining, drinking, in restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels. You see that, correct?
I do.
Now, as of May the 30th, 2023, when you filed this interrogatory, you had in fact entertained Miss Willis on many occasions, had you not?
Again, during the course of the marriage was irretrievably broken in 2015.
Well,
The
then
answer's still no.
let's read what the interrogatory says about the time period required to answer the interrogatory. Because what it says is, it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining and or drinking at any restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels, or persons' homes from the date of marriage to the present. You understand what the word present means?
I do.
And present means the filing on May the 30th, 2023. Isn't that right?
It is.
So as of May the 30th, 2023, you have done a lot, or you had done a lot of entertaining of Miss Willis, had you not?
I had done some, yes.
And in fact, under your testimony, you would have said that she had also entertained you. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And so your answer to this interrogatory is false, is it not, sir?
No, it's not false.
Well, hate to dance around the, the answer is yes, you did entertain Miss Willis, correct? Right?
Yes,
She's not your spouse at that time or any time, correct?
that's correct.
She's not related to you by blood or marriage, correct?
That's correct.
But you entertained her, right?
Yes,
And during the course from your marriage, the period of time up to the present, so the answer would have been, yes, I did entertain somebody, correct?
during the course of the marriage, no.
Mr. Wade,
Mr. Gillen, I think we've made our point. I think it speaks for itself, and we can save that for argument.
I'll just follow up with one quick question. Do you understand what the word present means?
Your Honor, that's been asked of us.
I think we did cover that already as well.
Okay. Now, what has happened from the time that you filed this court document in May of 2023, let's go over some of the things that you had been involved in terms of being entertained or entertaining. Prior to your filing on the answer on the interrogatories on May the 30th, 2023, we've already established, have we not, that you had paid for a Royal Caribbean cruise to the Bahamas with Miss Willis, correct?